You know, maybe actually saying the other one might have been better. Because if you say, like, it's game over, as if it's like a game, actually that maybe would have helped them. I don't know. Oh well. I'll just live with my choice. I don't want to, like, go back every time to change my decisions. Maybe on the next playthrough? Maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. Well, anyway. The damp, moldy smell was gone, replaced by the harsh, antiseptic smell of a functioning hospital. Well, this is the operating room, isn't it? In the center of the room was a surgical table with various unpleasant-looking tools laid out across it. The general creepiness of the room brought me up short, and I took a tentative step back as two other doors opened and the rest of our party appeared. Okay.
やれやれ、全員無事か。無事っちゃ無事だけどよ。ひとまずみんな怪我がなさそうでよかったね。
You guys. I began to move slowly toward the table in the center. Hiding in the shadows, I could see the form of a small girl curled up in a ball. Is she Sonic? Doing a spin dash? Are you okay? You don't need to be scared. We're not gonna hurt you. Wait a minute, she has like a Pocky in her mouth and a bandage. Are you like Shirabe's daughter or something? Or maybe, well, I don't know, maybe not daughter, granddaughter? She looks very young, so. Slowly and cautiously, a little girl with a huge backpack stepped out into the light. Well, then again, I don't know how old Shirabe is. That's his name, right? The journalist? I don't know how old he is, but...
Mai!
Okay, there you go. Mai! Okay, it is his daughter. What? She has no nose. It's crazy. As soon as she spotted Shirabe, the girl ran toward him and leapt up into his arms. We were all totally dumbfounded. Daddy. Daddy. I guess in Japanese, Papa. Everyone let out a sigh of relief.
クリアっつうのはよかったが、おっさんよ、これはどういうことだ。ああ、説明してもらいたいな。
Yeah. Shirabe finally set the girl back down and turned to face the rest of us.
調べまい。俺の娘だ。
Is your entire family? I guess the resemblance is uncanny. You always have Pocky in your mouth, and you always some kind of bandage on your face. That's how the family line works, I guess. You inherit the bandage. It just kind of goes on your skin when you're born.
意外だな。お子さんがいらしたんですね。ああ。
Okay, but what's she doing here? She still seemed scared and had hidden behind her father's leg to peer out at the rest of us.
舞は俺の亡くなった妻との忘れがたみでな。訳あって今は妻の実家、舞からすれば祖母の家に預けている。
Okay, that implies that, well, I don't know, well, divorced, but probably his wife died or something. At least that's the way it seems to be implied in that sentence.
ってことは、今は一緒に暮らしてないんだ。
まあそういうことだ。で、舞、なんだってお前はこんなところにいるんだ？
あのね。
She looked down the floor and played with her hands as she spoke.
おばあちゃんと一緒にここに来たらドカーンって爆発があって、そしたらおばあちゃんとはぐれちゃって。
You got lost in the park? A lost child in an amusement park. That's actually pretty common, but it's, I guess, in different circumstances.
ってあの日からもう3日も経ってるのに飯とかどうしてたんだよ。
The flesh of her enemies.
リュックの中にね、お菓子がいっぱい入ってるの。
Okay, so that's why he has such a big backpack. It's literally all snacks. I guess again very similar to Shirobei. That's why he always just has infinite snacks. Somehow.
3日間もお菓子を食べながらランドの中をさまよってたってわけか。
It's not very healthy though. Shirobei shook his head and sighed.
しかしどうしたものか。
What do you mean?
いや、前はどう考えても外部の人間だろ。ゲームのルールに抵触しないかと思ってたな。
ああ、それは問題ないだろう。
そうでしょうか。
そうだよ。だって舞ちゃんはさ、最初からランドの中にいたわけだし、そういう意味では外部ってわけじゃないじゃん。
なるほどな。
Besides, if her being here was against the rules, Hogstein would have done something already, right?
確かにあの野郎覗き豚だからな。常に監視してるってのは昨日の件でよく分かったら。
I don't know if I want to use the word peeping Tom when there's like a little girl in the room, but alright.
つまり奴が文句をつけてこないってことは大丈夫だってことか。
まあいずれにせよこのアトラクションをクリアしなければここから出ることもできませんし。
その通りだ。まずはこのゲームのクリアに全力を尽くそう。
We nodded.
さてとだ。まずはこの病院の構造を簡単に説明しよう。
So now we have, I don't know, we literally just have Mai right now in our, I guess, party. And Hogstein mentioned like a traitor, right? Well, don't worry about it. Anyway. Cheeto began to explain what he'd learned. Apparently the rooms went Nightmare Maze, Vivisection Lab, Records.
なるほどな。ここは人体実験室ってわけか。くそ。なんか胸くそ悪い部屋だと思ったぜ。
Then that table.
やめようよ。どうせアトラクションなんだし、本当にここで人体実験があったわけじゃないって。そうだ。いつものように落ち着いて周囲を探索しよう。
As we moved off to examine the rest of the room, Mai edged up to me.
ねえ、人体実験って何？
Well, you see, little girl, it's when we cut up bodies and then you look inside.
ああ、人の体を調べるってことだぜ。
I guess that's one way of putting it.
だろ？
He grinned at me. How is he so confident all the time? I was trying to figure out how maybe I could siphon out some of that confidence when Wakusa suddenly spoke up.
なんか奥のドアにごつい錠前みたいのがついてるけど。
Well, we probably have to unlock it then, right?
おそらくそうだろう。この錠前のせいでドアノブが回らないようになっている。
He examined the doorknob closely, but was careful not to actually touch it.
しかしこの錠前、鍵穴がないようだな。
案外力ずくで開くんじゃねえの？
He strolled over and reached for the doorknob.
これは報いだ。数々の実験を行ってきた私自身が実験の対象となる時が来たのだ。逃げなくては意志を持たぬ不死の化け物となる前に、ここを後に訪れる者のためにメッセージを残す。地を這い、天を仰げ。
Okay. Mitsurashi froze with his hand on the doorknob and looked around as the announcement finished.
最初のアナウンスもそうだったけどさ、なんか誰かが話しかけてきてるみたいで気持ち悪いね。
地を這い、天を仰げ？ さっぱり意味がわからんな。
I mean, like, maybe you crawl under the table or something and then look up? I don't know.
しかしその言葉がヒントとなっているのは確かだろう。一体どういう意味が隠されているのか。
もっと調べればわかるだろう。ほらほら、野郎ども、とっとと調べるぜ。
We all sighed quietly at his ridiculous enthusiasm, but started looking over the room anyway.
人体実験室っていうだけあって物騒なものがいっぱいあるね。
Have you checked that cabinet?
開けてみよ
Miyoshi and I began to go through the cabinet.
う。なんだろう、これは薬品の瓶かな。
おい、ちょっと待て。危険な薬品があったらまずい。俺が判別しよう。
Miyoshi stepped out of the way, and Shirabe began to take the bottles out of the cabinet and set them on a wheeled cart.
どれどれ。こいつは食塩水。確かに何の匂いもない。
For each bottle, he first squinted at the label, then popped it open to smell the contents. Perhaps in an attempt to mimic her father, Mai grabbed hold of one of the jars and studied it with exaggerated care.
どれどれ
No! Before I could stop her, she twisted the cap off and taking a big sniff. Whatever was inside didn't seem to be pleasant, and she started coughing. I can't believe Mai murdered herself with poison gas. Oh, the jar forgotten in the face of its overwhelming odor, Mai's hand let go and dropped to the floor and shattered. Ah, what is this? Almost immediately, the smell of the jar filled the whole room and everyone began to cough. Way to go, little girl.
これは
You're kicked off the team. Get out.
何これ。おい、鼻と口を布で塞げ。
We all retreated to the corner of the room, covering our mouths with sleeves and handkerchiefs.
大丈夫か。目とか喉とか痛くねえか。
大丈夫。
すまない。子供ってのは何すっかわかんねえから子供なんだよ。気にすんな。ほら、こっち来い。
We're, well, I mean, it makes sense, but I feel like the expression on Shirabe, that's the only time he's actually not smug. He always has this weird smug expression on his face. This is the only time he isn't all that smug. Anyway. He draped his coat over Mai to protect it from whatever had been in the jar. I guess he's actually pretty nice, huh? It wasn't long before the smell died down, but just as I was about to relax, Shirabe rounded on Mai and started to yell at her.
マイ、お前自分が何をやったのか分かってるのか。どんな危ない薬品があるか分からないんだぞ。
Oh boy. Shirabe was furious, angrier than I'd ever seen. As Mai backed away from him, she began to cry. Uh oh. His alarm started to sound.
おいおい、気持ちは分かるけどよ。そんな頭ごなしに。部外者は黙ってろ。
Okay, well, I guess family is his sensitive spot. Well, I can't believe he flatlined and died. He died from a heart attack. Can't believe Miyoshi and the Shirabe both died. Just corpses on the ground. Ah.
ゲームオーバーです。
It's funny, it's like everyone's just losing the heart rate from like not even the horror aspects. The whole point of the terror gauge is that you get scared, but everyone else is just losing it for other reasons.
落ち着け。心拍数のチェックはまだ続いているんだぞ。
分かってるよ。だがこいつが。
Shirabe seemed to have barely even noticed that he maxed out his terror gauge. He wasn't getting any less angry, and Mai was still crying. I didn't like where this was going. Yeah, Mai did grab something that could have been dangerous, which she shouldn't have, but I can understand scolding her, but she's a kid, like Mitarashi said, but that's why her dad ought to be keeping an eye on her. Instead, he's just getting all angry. He doesn't seem to care whether she's okay or not. Get freaking mad. Everyone has Phoenix Wright style. Phoenix Wright style, you know, like shocked expressions every time. It's hilarious. Adults are supposed to look after kids so they don't do stuff like that, right? I mean, you're her dad. You should have been paying attention to what she was doing. You didn't even ask if she was okay.
確かにお前さんの言う通りだ。これじゃあ父親失格だな。
You're not a terrible father. I should have been keeping an eye on her too. Just go easy on her, okay?
ゲームオーバーだ。
Uh-oh. Damn it! Whoops! What? Oh, it's funny, we get love points, I guess, or whatever, attraction points with Shirabe, but we max out our own heart rate monitor and then we die. Whoops. I jumped. I hadn't even noticed my alarm going off. Apparently I got excited enough to max out my gauge.
しまった。3人ゲームオーバーだ。
That's the I guess the only time where getting angry kind of messes things up. What? No! An explosion rocked the room. No! A fiery blast swept through the room and it was over. We all died. The end. Well, game over. It's weird though, because you do get attraction points with him. Or whatever. Is it like it's just there? Even though... Maybe depending on who you choose, maybe? I don't know. Like maybe like Mayoshi, I wonder if he could have failed his heart rate monitor. Maybe there's a way for him not to fail his heart rate monitor. Or depending on who you choose, you know, maybe someone else wouldn't have lost their like heart rate. Or whatever. Okay, well. How do I... Skip. The power of skipping! Whee! I should go skip faster, actually. No? The one time I did not save, because I thought that, you know, usually when you get angry, there's no point. It's always, you should get angry, you know? Even though I already know the correct choice, let's just save anyways. Alright. Restrain myself. He's probably just scared and he doesn't want to admit it, so he gets angry instead. Then Mitarashi spoke up.
子供にそれは言い過ぎなんじゃねえか。俺たちがちゃんと見ててやらなかったのも悪いだろうが。まあ、それはそうだが。
Okay, good. I'm glad Mitarashi said something. I let out a quiet sigh of relief.
とにかく皆さん、一度落ち着いてください。みんな無事だったんです。
That's funny,
それで
actually.
よしとしようじゃありませんか。
Because usually when you get angry, and you know the bomb, I don't know what you call it. There's like a name for it, but like, you know, when Saki gets angry, you can choose for her to explode or not. Usually there's no reason not to, but actually there is. According to the story, you should not get angry because you lose.
本当にすまん。前のこととなると、どうしても気が気じゃなくなっちまう。正直、どう接していいのかわからないところもあってな。もう何年も離れて暮らしてるから、距離感がつかめないんだ。
You're a horrible father. Though I guess maybe, well, it's probably the classic tragic cliche where like probably his wife died giving birth or something, and you know, like feels awkward around Mai because he feels like she's responsible, but she's actually not, and feelings of guilt and everything. Maybe that's why. Anyway.
おっさんよ、逆に気にしすぎなんじゃねえの？なあ、マイ。
The crying had finally stopped and Mitarashi bent down to pat her gently on the head. It does seem like Shiorabe and Mai aren't very close though.
なぜ別々に暮らしているのかは知らないが、一緒にいればそのうち時間が解決してくれるさ。
そうだな。
ひとまずまた探索しよ
ああ、刺激臭も収まってきた。
We spent the next 45 minutes or so checking every corner, but we couldn't turn up anything that looked promising. Did you notice all these knives and stuff are fake? They're glued onto the table.
本物と言えるのはさっきの薬品の瓶だけか。
Yeah, that makes them suspicious. Shiorabe gathered up all the jars and arranged them on top of the surgery table.
う。瓶は全部で9本。そのうち1つはさっき割れたから。
残りは8本か。さてどうしたものか。
Each one's got a label on it. Nitric acid, saline right? Saline solution, methanol.
全然わかんねえな。さっきのヒントって何だったっけ？
Crawl on the earth and look up at the heavens. Something like that.
地を這い、天を仰げ。これがどういう意味を表すのか。
We all set to thinking about the hint, and silence fell over the room. After a few minutes, I noticed that Mai, who seemed to have taken a liking to Mitarashi, was looking kind of puzzled. I guess Mitarashi is good with children. Well, she's just a kid, all this stuff is probably very confusing. But as I kept watching, I realized she was also being pretty fidgety. Wait. I don't know if it matters. Do you need to go to the washroom, or you have something to tell us, maybe? Is there something you wanted to tell us? She nodded nervously.
あのね、あそこに何か書いてあるよ。
どこだ？
あそこの下。
She pointed to the far side of the surgery table. Wakasa walked over and crouched down to take a look.
本当だ。何か書いてある。
Yeah, that's what I was saying, you know, crawl down, get to the ground, and look up at like the table or something. You noticed that when you were hiding over there earlier. Good job, Mai. I patted her on the head and she giggled.
一章三。まるで血で書かれているようだが。
She's probably very stinky. I don't know, the thought just came to my mind because she's been here for 3 days, eating only snacks. She's probably very stinky. She probably hasn't taken a bath in 3 days. And only eating snacks, so probably like a bunch of crumbs all over her face and clothes. Anyway. Okay, so drawings, a crown, 3 drops of water.
おお、それってあれだ。ほら、ダイニングメッセージってやつ。
Low ranking table? That's weird. In Japanese though, he didn't say low ranking table. He said dying message. You know, someone who leaves the final message before they die or whatever.
ダイイングメッセージ。
Dying message. Is this some kind of pun actually? I didn't hear that again.
おお、それってあれだ。ほら、ダイニングメッセージってやつ。
Oh, he said dining message is like dining table, but then he said it wrong, so it's dining message. And then Toa and Koda are like, no, it's dying good message.
ダイイングメッセージ。
That's the pun. Anyway.
そんなにそう突っ込みしなくたっていいだろ
う。まあまあ、どちらにしろこのメッセージを書いた本人が亡くなっているかどうかもわかりませんし。
The
The
localization is kind of weird because it implies that I guess he's making a joke about something. Yeah.
くそ。
As we continued to discuss the meaning of the drawing, Shirobei began to mumble to himself.
なるほど。地を這い天を仰げってのはメッセージのありかを示す言葉だったのか。マイ、よくやったな。
My smile was so wide I thought she was gonna hurt herself, and Shirobei gave her a crooked grin, apparently in spite of himself.
で、次の問題はこの一生三円ってやつだけどよ。これは一体何なんだ？
それはおそらく一生三円、つまり脳硝酸と脳塩酸を1対3の割合で混ぜるということだと思います。
3 drops of royal water?
皆さんも学生の頃科学で習ったかもしれませんが、これは
王水か。
その通りです。
What's that?
王水とは通常の酸にも溶けない金やプラチナなどでさえ溶かすことができる酸化力の強い液体のことを言います。
I never knew that. Aqua Regia? Regia? Maybe you learned that in chemistry class?
その割合で薬品を混ぜればその王水ができるということだな。
はい。
よし、早速やってみよ
He picked up the 2 jars and looked around.
う。何か容器はないか。
Well, how about this? I handed a beaker I found on the ground to Shido, and he nodded.
よし、念のためみんな離れていろよ。
He carefully measured out the right amounts of each substance and added them to the beaker, which was soon filled with a reddish-orange liquid.
さて、あとはこの王水をどうするかだが。
Then everyone drinks, drinks the solution, and then you die. Shido and Shirobei look thoughtful.
ああ、おそらくあの鍵穴のない錠前にかけるんだろうな。貸してくれ。
Shido did, and Shirobei walked over to the lock and upended the beaker of Aqua Regia over it. You say that Regia? I assume it's Regia, right? Aqua Regia? I'm not sure how you say it. But it's melting.
成功だね。
魔法みたい。
The melted lock fell to the floor with a thud, and as it did, the PA crackled to life again. We did it!
実験室クリア。
Clear.
よし、これで先に進める。行こう。
We began to file out the room, with Mai holding onto Mitarashi's hand and following behind him. Oh, that's kinda cute. Oh. A text from Uncle Keiji. I pulled out my phone and began to read.
状況は分かった。もしどうしても気になるなら、直接確かめてみるべきだ。
I mean, that's
のことを仲間だと思っているなら。
that's what we were gonna do anyway, in the first place. It didn't really work out, but maybe with everyone here. Yeah, I guess you're right. I took a deep breath and strode up to Shirobei. Can I ask you something?
なんだ、お嬢ちゃん。
Ojo-chan. Nobody says that. Everyone else had already left and we were alone. Oh, okay. It's gonna be the same thing as last time though. It's just gonna deny the truth. Or maybe not. Now, last night I saw you talking to someone through the Hogstein statue. He blinked in surprise, but his face quickly twisted into a sour grimace.
参ったな。しかし、これは俺個人の問題だ。お前さんに何か言うつもりはない。
Ugh. He started to move toward the exit. Wait!
くどいぞ。
We have to trust each other if we're gonna cooperate. And we have to cooperate if we're gonna get through the other attractions. If we don't trust each other, everything's gonna fall apart. I wanna trust you, but I can't do that if you're gonna keep stuff from me like this. I planted my feet and looked him in the eye. Shirobei stared back at me for a long moment, then rolled his eyes and let out an exasperated sigh.
確かに、前のことでみんなに面倒をかけるのに、 自分が秘密を抱え込んでいるのはフェアじゃないな。
Well, spill it, buddy.
ああ、
By now, everyone else had made their way back into the room, possibly because they got tired of waiting for us.
一体どうしたんだ？
Well... I brought them up to speak quickly, and when I was finished, Shirobei began to speak.
俺はずっとある事件を追っている。ここに来たのも実は取材が目的じゃない。その事件絡みでだ。
This case? I mean, he does look like a detective type. You know, I was surprised actually when he said he was just a journalist. He does seem like the hard-boiled, you know, detective guy. Even though there is already a detective in the group.
ある日、M2 と名乗る謎の人物から電話があってな。オープニングイベントに来れば真実がわかると言われたんだ。
Though I guess he's still not really a detective though. I guess he's still a journalist. I guess a journalist can follow leads or whatever.
ゆうべ、ワルドブーのやつと話をしていたのは、その M2 がワルドブーなのかを確認したかったからだ。まあ結局、とぼけられちまったんだが。
He sighed and scratched his beard.
誓って言うが、裏切り者ってのは俺のことじゃないぜ。
Ah yes, I'm not the traitor, believe me.
まあそうだよね。もし裏切り者が調べさんなら、舞ちゃんを巻き込むわけないし。
I don't know, he could be like a heartless psychopath that doesn't care about his daughter, but Oh, you're right. I'm sorry I suspected you, Shirobei.
いや、俺も隠していて悪かった。
Then the pig was lying about there being a traitor. Well, I don't know that. My uncle's advice had been right on the money. All my fears about Shirobei were gone.
さて、改めて先を急ごう。タイムリミットまであと2時間しかない。
Right, let's go. Who's out there?
案内板の情報からすれば、
No one's gonna comment on that?
最後の部屋のはずだ。
Just like red crimson eyes just outside the window in the silhouette. Records, right? There were several wooden desks spaced evenly throughout the room. On top of each one was a mountain of documents and old computers. Surrounding the desks were rows of bookshelves.
あそこに何かある。
On top of the one of the desks was a treasure chest about the size of an open hand. Next to it was a pair of clippers.
この宝箱、机に固定されてやがる。
本当だ。動かないね。
ちょっと待て。無理に動かすな。
Everyone else stepped back as Shido approached the box and slowly opened the lid.
これは。
あ？なんだこれ。変な機械が入ってんな。
And still no one's gonna comment on the red eyes, no? I guess not. It could just be a prop, I guess. Now what's inside the box? Oh, it's a bomb, obviously. It's funny because, well, I don't know. The last two attractions, I guess, didn't really involve a bomb necessarily. I guess this attraction literally does have a bomb. Inside was a smaller box with several colorful wires sprouting out of it. Yes, which wire to cut, hmm? The wires ran to an LCD panel that read 1456. As we watched it change to 1455, then 1454. Oh no.
次元爆弾だな。
まさかこのアトラクションを吹き飛ばすための。
いやいやいやいや、待てって。まだ2時間残ってんだろ。
But the timer only has 14 minutes.
さらば血塗られたホスピタルよ。私はすべての罪と引き換えにこの煉獄から解放される。
The voice of the announcer filled the room and then was gone.
思い出した。
何をです？
確かゲームでは研究者だった主人公が脱出するとき、ゾンビ研究のすべてを吹き飛ばすために 病院を爆破するんだ。それが血まみれホスピタルのエンディングだった。
なるほど。つまりこれが最後の仕掛け。そして俺たちがするべきはこのニッパーで配線を切って次元爆弾を止めることか。
配線は全部で7本か。この中に間違いが一体何本入ってるのか。
I mean, you see this all the time, you know, time bomb with a bunch of wires connect to it and you gotta clip the right one. Is that true to real life? I mean, I have no idea. I guess I'm not a bomb diffusal expert. I don't imagine every bomb literally has wires to them where you can cut and, you know, it doesn't explode. I don't know how it works.
もしかして正解の確率は7分の1だったりして。
落ち着け。危険な時ほど冷静になるべきだ。まずはクリア失敗の条件を一度整理してみよ
う。まず心拍数が高くなりすぎて恐怖ゲージのアラームが振り切れたらアウトです。すでに2人がアウトになっているのであと1人でクリア失敗です。
次に次元爆弾のタイマーが0になったらクリア失敗。あと13分しかないよ。
And if you cut the wrong wires, then you're really in trouble.
つまりそれって結局どういうことだ？
要は心拍数が増加しないよう落ち着いて時間ギリギリまで粘ってどの配線をカットするかを決めるってことだな。
その通りだ。カットする配線のヒントを得るためにアナウンスの文章から怪しい部分を洗い出そう。
さらば血塗られたホスピタルよ。私は全ての罪と引き換えにこの煉獄から解放される。
That's not, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a very good hint.
煉獄ってなんだろ
う。本来ならダンテの新曲に出てくる場所の名前だが、まあこの場合は病院のことを指してるんだろうな。新曲ってのは地獄編、煉獄編、天国編の3部構成からなる叙事詩だ。このアトラクションの入り口に書かれてた一切の希望を捨てよって言葉もその一節だ。
Shirabe tapped his middle finger against his forehead as he spoke.
煉獄ってのは生前に罪を犯した者が罪を償う場所を言う。罪とされるのは傲慢、嫉妬、憤怒、怠惰、貪欲、暴食、色欲。
俗に言う7つの大罪か。
It's funny, isn't there like, well, how many people are in this room? Is it 7? Technically, if you, I don't know if you count mine, but wasn't there like 7 participants or whatever? Actually, I don't know. There's Shido. I mean, there's the cop, the journalist, musclehead, pop idol, fortune teller. I guess if you count Saki. Oh, and Gamer Boy, right? So yeah, there is 7 people. Again, if you don't count Mai. So I wonder if they're related each to the 7 deadly sins, maybe? I don't know.
よくわかんねえけど、アナウンスで言ってる罪ってのは何なんだ？
このゲームの主人公はここで働いていた研究者の一人なんだ。軍の命令で人体実験を繰り返し不死の存在ゾンビを作り出してた。記憶を失った状態で病院内を探索してた主人公は自分の研究日誌を見つけて読み返すことで記憶を取り戻していく。
ってことは罪ってのは
That sounds like an interesting game, actually. I guess it's kind of like its own, because this game doesn't really exist, but you know. But I guess that's I guess the survival horror genre thing, right? Your character has amnesia, you go around like a spooky place, find some notes. You know, a lot of horror games tend to do this, but you find like notes that try to explain the story of what's going on and things like that, I guess.
ゾンビを生み出す研究。人体実験のことだろうね。
アナウンスの解読はひとまずこんなところか。あとはこの資料室の探索だな。時間がない。手分けしていこう。
No, it's like we only have 14 minutes. Spending a lot of this time just talking. I feel like. Right. We all ran off to different parts of the room and began looking desperately for anything that might give us a hint for what we needed. I'm not seeing anything. The books and stuff are all fake, and the computer won't even turn on. I grabbed the drawer, expecting it to be fake too, but I was surprised when it opened. Ah,
どうしました？
there's a notebook in here. It says research notes. Well, you better speed read before the bomb blows up. Be quick about it. I lifted it out carefully as everyone crowded in around me. It's got 5 of these pieces of colored paper stuck in it. What do you think they mean? Well, they're probably bookmarks, but also probably correspond with the wires on the bomb.
お嬢ちゃん、その付箋のページを開いてみてくれ。
I did as he suggested and found a page full of scribbled notes with one word circled in what looked like blood.
何これ、気持ち悪い。
どうやら付箋のついたページそれぞれに丸がつけられているようだな。丸がついてる言葉は何だ？
妬まれて、憤った、怠けた、暴れて、色の。嫌な言葉ばっかじゃん。これ書いたやつ、相当頭おかしいんじゃねえの？
Jealousy, fury, neglect, indulgence, and seduction. I guess to correspond to sins?
人体実験の罪の重さで気が変になっていたのかもしれないね。
Wait. The others were still gathered around the notebook discussing it, but I felt as if I was on the verge of some sort of mental breakthrough. Let me save the game. It's probably gonna have a bombastic intuition thing. I don't know what you call it again. I feel like I've heard these words before. Explosive insight. That's what it's called. Alright. So, there were 5 circle words in the journal. Jealousy, fury, neglect, indulgence, and seduction. Only 5. I feel like I've seen something like that before. When we first got here, we found a treasure chest on the desk, but it ended up being a time bomb. It doesn't look like the other ones we've gotten for beating attractions. And a time bomb, as soon as we opened the lid, the countdown started. This is the last puzzle. If we can figure out which wires to cut, we'll have beaten this attraction. There are 7 wires, they're all different colors. Which one should we cut? The announcement mentioned Purgatory. This is all like a very fun place, which is from the Divine Comedy. I think Shirabe said the phrase we saw written over the entrance is from the Divine Comedy too. The Purgatory is where someone who have committed some of the 7 deadly sins go when they died. I think they were pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, and gluttony. And which, by the way, I remember looking up the 7 deadly sins before. Technically, the 7 deadly sins weren't 7 before. I think they were like, well, they were changed actually. Like they were like multiple words for like, I believe it was pride and envy or something. I don't know the exact origins, but you know, it wasn't always 7 deadly sins. Is what I'm trying to say. It used to be, I think, less. And they added other ones afterwards, I guess. The main character in the game this was based on worked at the hospital. His sin was creating zombies and performing human experimentations. He got attacked by that one zombie in the maze. That was scary. And I wonder where Story Experience ended up making a zombie. I don't know. So why do these words from the journal seem familiar? Well, probably because it's related to the 7 deadly sins. You know what? I'll put extra ones just in case I'm wrong. I guess it isn't too hard. It's funny. The very first one is, or even the second one maybe, was a little bit ambiguous what I needed to do, but this one's easy. So. The 7 deadly sins. 7 deadly sins, of course. That's it.
どうした
Look at the words he circled. Aren't those like basically synonyms for some of the sins?
何
None. As if it was a surprise about. I feel like that's not too hard to figure out. Again, I feel like the very first attraction, that was kind of hard to figure out what exactly we're trying to suss out from the hints. But these recent ones that requires insight, a bit more obvious because you're just solving the actual puzzle, you know?
嫉妬、憤怒、怠惰、暴食、色欲。そうか。確かに言われてみれば同じだな。
しかし高慢と貪欲が足りないようだが
あのさ、同じって言えばノートについてる付箋の色も爆弾の配線と同じ色だよね。
You're right.
よしいいぞもう一度整理しよう爆弾の配線は7本それと同じ色の付箋が5つある赤と青の2本分が足りない付箋の言葉は5つの罪に対応している高慢と貪欲の2つが足りない
とするとだ。この赤と青の配線が高慢と貪欲に当たるってことか。
この2本切りゃタイマーが止まるのか
いや焦るなただ単にヒントに対応していない配線を見つけただけだおい残りの時間は
6 minutes.
まごまごしてる暇はねえぜここはかけるべきなんじゃねえのか
Mai jumped at Mitarashi's change in tone and took a step back from him.
くそ。どこかに何か決定的な情報が隠されているはずなんだが。
The ticking clock was making everyone frantic. I could tell we were quickly losing focus. I needed to calm down. I was trying desperately to get my thoughts in order when Shido caught my eye.
イナフネサキここまでで何か気になった点はないか時間がない今はお前のひらめきにかけたい
I just had an explosive insight. I can't give you another one right after, okay? There's a recovery period. Anyway, what? Oh man, what am I gonna do? I'm making like a million saves. No, just in case. Sure, got it. Got it, I'll do my best. I gave him a firm nod. Okay, traction points up.
念のため、俺たちも一緒に考えよう。
Yeah. Maybe there's something in that announcement that we missed, or something else we skipped over. I mean, there has to be. These puzzles are tough, but they're solvable. Oh, it's another one. Okay. Right after? I didn't think there would be a explosive insight chain combo. There's still something we're missing. Maybe it's in that announcement. Farewell, bloodstained hospital. All these sins are yours, so that I might escape this purgatory. That seems pretty straightforward. I mean, we're in a hospital after all, and which sins is this talking about? We matched the 7 deadly sins to the words circle in the journal. Some of the words in this journal were sort of synonyms of some of the 7 deadly sins. The journal only had 5 sins, though: envy, wrath, sloth, gluttony, and lust. This belonged to the main character from the game that was based on the guy we'd heard over the PA. We compared the colored paper to the colored wires, which gave us 2 leftover wires. The colors were purple, orange, green, yellow, and pink. The wires were purple, orange, green, yellow, pink, red, and blue. That means the red and blue wires that don't match with the journal correspond with pride and greed. Probably is about lions, huh? And greed. Greed is pretty common sin these days, but I guess it always is. But that still doesn't tell us which wires to cut. How are we supposed to figure it out? Oh, actually, okay, now this is hard because I'm not exact. I don't have the answer because I'm not sure what they're trying to get for. So it's like maybe something with these, like all these sins are yours. So is that does that imply pride, maybe, or maybe greed? Because they're all yours, you know. It's like, here you go, have a lot of sins. Can I just pick 2, like, boop boop, like that? Pride and greed. and then boop. I don't know. I might be wrong. Let's try. It's funny though. Maybe you have to pick either pride and greed, or just pick both of them. Maybe it just chooses the correct one automatically. Anyway. All these sins, okay. Yeah, I think all these sins has to do with something how like. Well, we'll see. I guess I'm not exactly sure what it means. Oh, that's it. All these sins. Apparently, Saki knows though. Has to mean we're supposed to cut all the sins in the journal. That's the answer. Oh, okay. I get it.
それだ。みんなもそれでいいの。
ああ、乗ったぜ。
Well, it doesn't make like completely. I feel like it doesn't make 100% sense. 100% sense. What's that? 100% chance sense? I don't know. I don't think like it equals that necessarily. Like all of these sins are yours. So all the sins that correspond to the journal is yours. Does it mean you cut it or do you keep it? You know, it's I feel like it's still ambiguous, but whatever. It's fine.
おそらくそれで間違いないだろう。
乗った。
僕も賛成だよ。
Maybe it's read. Maimo. Maybe it's read differently in Japanese. I don't know. I feel like it's still like pretty ambiguous whether or not you're actually supposed to cut the wires or not. Dot dot dot. You have nothing to say? What?
お前のひらめきに乗る覚悟を決めた。
Mr. Fortune Teller's not gonna praise me? How rude. He grinned and picked up the clippers. There were 4 minutes left on the clock.
いいか。恐怖ゲージを振り切らないよう、みんな落ち着けよ。切るぞ。
Slowly and carefully, Shido cut each wire, avoiding the red and blue ones.
次で最後だな。
ああ、行くぞ。
With a snap, the clippers cut through the last wire. No!
なんでだよ。
Whoops, as it turns out.
が止まらねえんだ。
I mean... The time was still counting down.
クリア失敗になっていないということは、ここまでは間違いじゃない。だが、
Does this mean one of the remaining wires still needs to be cut?
もうどっちか決めて切っちゃうしかないよ。
Wakasa moaned.
このままクリア失敗するよりはマシかも。
Isn't that like a game theory, you know? 50 versus 100% and 0? I don't know. It's better to cut rather than not cut.
よし、赤だ。俺の感じは怪しいのは赤だ。貸せ。
He lunged forward to take the clippers from Shido. Wait!
時間がねえっつうのは。
If someone didn't stop him, he was gonna cut it. I leapt toward Mitarashi.
いいえ、青です。
Nani? At last, Urabe spoke.
浦部君まろ。その根拠は何だ。
日誌の色です。見てください。
Really? Is the color of the journal itself?
何色ですか？
Huh. It's blue?
人体実験のことを綴ったこの日誌は、それ自体が持ち主の罪だと言えるでしょう。だから、最後の答えは青です。
There was something oddly certain about his tone.
なるほどな。だがお前さん、なんでそれに気づいた？
Shirabe? He didn't look happy.
おいおい、残り2分だぜ。どうすんだよ。
Shido turned to face Urabe as well.
王水の化学式も今思えば唐突だったな。
Well...
それってどういうこと？
Are we really gonna have this conversation right now?
言いたいんだよ。
Right when the bomb is gonna blow up? I didn't know what was going on, but I could feel a knot begin to form at the bottom of my stomach.
それは
We can talk about this later.
それは 私こそが裏切り者だ
I
った
knew
の
it.
です
But he seems remorseful though, so probably he's like he's forced to become the traitor. No, he doesn't want to be the traitor, I guess. But I knew he was kind of suspicious. He seems like a suspicious person. Just look at him. And Nani? All around the room, eyes widened in shock. And then the bomb blows up, and then we all die. Because we're just too busy being shocked. Look at their faces. But that was just something Hogstein said to shake us up. His sad expression was enough to confirm my worst fears. No, this can't be happening. I was still reeling when Shido spoke up.
わかった。理由は後で聞こう。今は時間がない。
And that's what I was saying. We reached out for the blue wire.
ちょっと自分で裏切り者だって言ってる人の言葉信じちゃうの？
What should we do? Well, I mean, we probably should just trust him because, you know, he's not like, haha, I'm the traitor. He's more like, hey guys, I guess I'm the traitor. You know, he's like, well, I don't want to admit it, but like, he's probably like, what do you call it? Like, I forget the word. But basically, you know, he probably doesn't want to be the traitor and everything. He's kind of forced to, if I had to guess. Guys, I think we should trust Urabe.
ちょっと待ってよ。これで決まっちゃうんだよ。もっとちゃんと考えた方が良くない？
There won't be enough of us to fill a thimble, eh?
でもゆっくり考えてる暇はない。一番可能性が高いと思える答えを選ぶべきだと思う。
Yeah. I felt someone looking at me and turned around. Urabe? Heart. He didn't say anything, but I thought I saw the hint of a smile in his eyes. We had less than a minute left on the timer. We had to make a decision. The red wire or the blue one.
俺は腹を決めたぜ。こいつが裏切り者だろうがなんだろうが信じるしかねえんだろ。
With his ultimatum given, Mitarashi turned his back to the bomb and sat down cross-legged on the floor.
おじちゃん？
おじちゃんじゃねっつうの。お兄ちゃん。
Oni-chan. He lifted Mai up onto his knee and put a protective arm around her.
まあそういうことだな。
He nodded and moved to stand between Mitarashi and the bomb, what was likely a vain attempt to shoot her from the blast. Okay, so the idea is that, you know, if the bomb does blow up, hopefully the corpses will protect her.
ヒルさん。
He looked around at us one last time, and we all nodded. Shido held the clippers up to the wire and squeezed the grip, and then we all died. Cut it. Ah! Kaboom! No,
怒らない。
I guess not.
タイマーは残り5秒で止まってる。
ってことは。
We've done it! Smiles began to break out when... Kaboom! No. Uh-oh.
ワルドブ。
Oh no! The timer suddenly started to count down again, and before we knew it, the numbers hit 0.
ステージ3クリア。
Nani? The announcement hit me like a punch to the stomach.
そんなあれが正解だと昨夜あなた自身が口にしたではありませんか。
His voice was a mix of anger and desperation. Nani? I guess. What? Then why even bother going through the, you know, the wild goose chase of looking at the notebook and everything? My god. Kaboom! Yes, that's what's gonna happen. Kaboom! We all die.
すべての敗戦だと？じゃあ付箋が2つ足りなかったのも日誌が青かったのもすべてブラフだったってのか？
まさかこんなくだらない、いやむしろ奴らしい。気づいて叱るべきだった。俺としたことが。
It was all a trick? I didn't know what else to say. That's right, we failed, so the bombs were about to go off.
おい、脱出するぞ。
脱出って言っても
Since Hogstein's revelation, Urube had looked empty and beaten, but now he suddenly straightened up.
こちらです。
He headed over to a nearby bookshelf and tapped one of the books. The entire shelf slid to the side, revealing a doorway.
扉が。
ここから外に出られます。皆さん、早く。
We didn't wait for him to say it twice and ran through the door as fast as we could.
とにかく走れ。
おう、ない。振り落とされないようにしっかり捕まってろよ。
Where is Urube? I looked back over my shoulder. I wasn't even sure and I heard it. Urube? His name was barely out of my mouth when I heard an explosion. There really is a kaboom. I really thought it was gonna be over. It turns out, yes. Not even a second later, a shockwave hit, throwing me forward. Smoke instantly filled the hallway. I stumbled forward, blinded. I can't keep going. Just as I was about to collapse, I felt someone grab my hand.
大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm... Miyoshi, what are you doing here?
そんなことより今は急がないと。
I focused on his hand, picked myself up and began to run again. Hand holding, dude. We hadn't gone very far before I heard another explosion from behind us. Ah! The blast slammed into me and I felt my body began to fall when... Miyoshi! He wrapped his arms around me and turned his back to the explosion. Cool guys don't look at explosions, you see. Are you okay?
大丈夫。少し打っただけ。
He was trying to protect me from the explosion. Gah! Another blast hit us, far more powerful than the others, and everything went dark. Okay, I guess the entire attraction blew up.
おい、
Yeah.
大丈夫か。
That's a lot of property damage. Ugh. My eyes floated open and I saw Shido bending over me. The smoke had cleared, so I figured I must have been out for a little while. What happened to the hospital?
ご覧のざまだぜ。
I spun around. Mitarashi was right. There's nothing left but a mass of twisted, smoking debris. Well, there we go. I guess the entire hospital exploded. I don't know what happened to Urube though. Apparently he was a traitor and everything, but again, it seemed like he had a change of heart right after he actually, well, I don't know if he betrayed us. Actually, he just gave us the answers, really. But I don't know if he died. Did he die? It didn't seem like the type of game where actually someone would die, at least from one of the main characters. It seems a very lighthearted game, so I don't know if he's actually dead. I guess we'll see.